Welcome to the regular meeting of the Putnam County Legislature, December 7th, 2021. Please stand for the pledge and remain standing for the legislative prayer. I call on Legislator Goldman for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Legislator Albano, please, for the prayer.
We meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibilities to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and the community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen.
Amen. Roll call.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery. Present. District 2, Legislator Goldman.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Nasarino.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Albano.
Present.
District 6, Legislator Yonke.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Castellano.
Present.
District 8, Legislator Sage.
Present.
District 9, Legislator Sullivan.
Present.
District 3, Chairwoman Edna Zia.
Present. I now call on Legislator Sullivan to present the proclamation this evening.
Thank you, Chairwoman Adenizio. It's my pleasure tonight to present a proclamation to some fast-acting teachers and students who saved a boy's life at Mahopac in Mahopac Middle School from choking. So if I could ask those wonderful people to come up. We have a couple of the teachers. We have Mike DeLeo and Jennifer Maloney. And then also, I think we have some of the students who helped out and helped save. It's Abby and, let me see, William. You want to come on up? We don't bite up here. Come on, come up here with me. How are you? Good. Hello, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Hi, Mike. How are you? Good to see you. So it's my honor to present you with a proclamation from the county executive and also the Putnam County Legislature, and I'll read it for you. Whereas on Friday, November 12, 2021, a sixth grader at Mahopac Middle School, William, was walking in the hallway with his friend between classes, and his friend began to choke on a candy. William immediately recognized that his friend needed help and went into a nearby classroom to alert teachers. Mahopac Middle School teachers Jennifer Maloney and Michael DeLeo called upon their first aid training and sprung into action to help the student. Maloney attempted the Heimlich maneuver, sorry, they've got your last name, Jennifer, attempted the Heimlich maneuver on the student, and when she realized his backpack was in the way, it was removed, and Mike DeLeo took over while Jennifer directed the rest of the students out of the classroom and into the gym. Another student, Abby, who was also in the classroom, followed her instincts and instead of going to the gym, went straight to the nurse's office to notify the nurse of the situation. She then led the nurse back to the classroom where the choking student was being helped by the teachers. Thankfully, the Heimlich maneuver quickly worked to dislodge the candy, allowing the boy to begin breathing before the nurse arrived at the classroom. Thanks to the quick actions of his fellow students and caring teachers, the student has fully recovered and is doing well. So now therefore be resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby recognize sixth grade students William and Abby and teachers Jennifer Maloney and Michael DeLeo for their swift, life-saving actions on November 12, 2021. So thank you very much for everything you did to help us. So come on up. So here, I'll present Mike and here, William, with the proclamation. We'll get a picture here. We got Eric is here. Come
You
on.
can take your mask off, kiddo. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much, you guys, for
Thank
your
you.
heroic efforts. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Good job.
Huh? What?
You want to be an EMT someday?
EMT, like an emergency ambulance driver.
maybe.
What else is that? Got to watch eating candy in school, right?
Yeah, we're lifesavers.
All right. Well, thanks very much for coming. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
too. Thank you very much.
Moving on to number 4 is approval of minutes. The Budget and Finance meeting, October 19th, 2021. Special meeting to adopt the budget, October 28th, 2021. And the regular meeting in November 3rd, 2021. Moving on to number 5 is correspondence from the county auditor. There was no activity during this reporting period. Moving on to pre-filed resolutions. I call on Chairman Yaki from the Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Edizio. On behalf of myself, legislators Massarino and Sullivan, I'd like to move forward with item 6A. That's the approval of the fund transfer, and the Sheriff's Office is for overtime for BCI. It's in the amount of $1,757 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Item 6B is the approval of a fund transfer for the Sheriff's Department. It's overtime costs for the Community and Youth Bureau. It's in the amount of $26,607 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6C, which is the approval of a fund transfer, Sheriff's Department. It's overtime for the Narcotics Division in the amount of $1,909 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6D is the approval of a fund transfer. Sheriff's Department is overtime for communications. It's in the amount of $12,459 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6E is the approval of a fund transfer. It's for overtime on the road patrol, $79,473 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6F is the approval of a fund transfer. Sheriff's Department Corrections overtime, it's $19,819, 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6G is the approval of a fund transfer, Sheriff's Department, it's corrections overtime. This is in the amount of $43,060. This is from the numerous constant watches, 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6H is the approval of a budgetary transfer. It's for the Office 4 Senior Resources for a reclassification. It's just that, a reclassification. It's in the amount of $634 with 0 fiscal impact.
Discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
And I emailed Mike Cunningham before the meeting, but I haven't checked to see if I got a response. It was just right before the meeting, and I think we tried to clarify this at the committee meeting, but I want to make sure that this has nothing to do with the senior outreach worker position, that it's still open through the chair.
Okay, I'm not familiar. Do you know that?
This was a carryover for some changes within the office And this is to accommodate some change. This is just balancing out a salary for someone. $634, just carrying it through to the end of the year.
Thank you. We're still waiting to hear about the senior outreach worker for Village Town, and it's been a year.
That's not this.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Item 6I is the approval of financial disclosure list for the year 2022, filing recommended by the Putnam County Personnel Director pursuant to Code Section 55-7.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6J is the approval of a local law establishing the 2022 salary of certain elected officials serving for fixed terms.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Item 6K is the approval of a local law establishing the 2022 salaries of certain appointed officers serving for fixed term.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6L is the approval of 2022 salaries for officers and employees paid from county funds.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you. I now call on Chairwoman Sage from the Health, Social, Educational, and Environmental Committee.
Thank you. On behalf of legislators Adonisio and Nassarino from the Health, Social, Educational, and Environmental Committee, I'd like to bring forward item number 6M. 6M is approval of budgetary amendment 21A-098 from the Health Department, COVID-19 related expenses set up as a FEMA account, originally to cover all pod-related expenses until it was determined which grant would eventually cover these costs. It's the amount of $131,056. All expenses will be fully reimbursed, and there's no fiscal impact.
Any discussion?
Last question.
Yes.
Yes. Here, it was originally set up as a FEMA account. I couldn't hear.
Yes, it was. They did not know where this money was going to come out of, so it was set up as a FEMA account. When they received the related grants, they had to zero out the FEMA account and put it in the correct line. So it's just accounting. They're moving it from the FEMA account to the correct COVID-19. And this is all covered by grant funding.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 6N is approval of a budgetary amendment 21A-099 for the Health Department, Preschool Child Administration and Education and Transportation for handicapped children in the amount of $87,725. There's no fiscal impact.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6.0, approval for budgetary amendment 21A-100, Health Department Additional Public Health Emergency Preparedness, COVID-19 funding grant. As noted in the backup, this Public Health Emergency Preparedness grant has awarded the Putnam County Health Department an additional $26,560 to augment activities related to the public health preparedness to increase and train the cadre of medical reserve corps volunteers. There is zero fiscal impact.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Item number 6P is approval of budgetary transfer 21T-287, community college tuition, community college. This is due to an increase in tuition costs and the increase in students attending community colleges. Tuition costs have increased approximately $208,000 in 2021. The fiscal impact in the 2021 budget, $100,000, increasing the estimated appropriations for community college tuition for $100,000, and decreasing estimated appropriation for contingency by $100,000. So there is a fiscal impact for 2021. This is mandated due to the We have an increase due to more kids going to school and the cost of education.
Any discussion? Just so everyone's aware, this is for the students from Putnam County that attend Westchester Community College and Dutchess Community College, and also FIT in New York City. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 6Q, approval appointment for Putnam County Board of Health. This is for the approval of Dr. Paul Liebwald to the Putnam County Board of Health. Dr. Liebwald previously served on the Board of Health from 1985 to 2000 and provides a wealth of institutional and professional knowledge on the Board of Health. Dr. Liebwald has over 46 years of experience in the medical field. He comes highly recommended by the Board of Health and was approved by the members unanimously. He will be appointed for a full 6-year term set to expire December 31st, 2027.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I call on Chairwoman Nazareno from the Protective Services Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Anizio. On behalf of myself, Legislator Sage and Sullivan, I would like to move forward with Agenda Item 6R, Approval Budgetary Amendment 21A-092, Probation Department DWI Crackdown, Enforcement and Drug Recognition Expert Callouts of Partnership Initiative. This is incoming money of $5,500, and this is New York State DWI Foundation organization, which has entered into a New York State GTSC to reallocate these funds to local governments. The Probation Department has requested this amendment to allow pass-through of the funds from the New York State Stop DWI Foundation to the appropriate participating county agencies through year end.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 6S. This is approval budgetary amendment 21A-093, Sheriff's Department Central Services chargeback gasoline. Sheriff's Department no longer, pumps are no longer in use, and the vehicles are now utilizing the pumps located at the Donald B. Smith campus. These chargebacks are necessary through year end and will be accordingly appropriated in the 2022 budget. This is in the amount of $43,277.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6N is approval budgetary amendment 21A-099, Health Department Preschool Child Administration and Education and Transportation Handicapped Child. The Commissioner of Health requested this amendment in order to have...
Excuse me, 6T was next.
What? Oh, I'm sorry, I have this mixed up, I'm sorry. 6T is approval fund transfer 21T 2A4 Sheriff's Department Central Service chargeback. Once again, this is necessary to move into the right codes, and then it's in the amount of $43,277.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Item 6U is approval budgetary amendment 21A-096, Emergency Services Progressive Insurance Check. This is incoming money of $7,250 received to replace the damaged message board.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6B is budgetary amendment in Sheriff's Department Youth and Community Services, outside services overtime. This is anticipated revenue from the school districts in the amount of $41,335.49.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6W is approval fund transfer 21T297, 7th Department Corrections overtime. This is necessary for jail overtime costs incurred due to at least 5 vacant correction officer positions. This is in the amount of $40,000.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6X is a budgetary transfer, 21T0305, Emergency Services Dispatch Center overtime. The Bureau of Emergency Services overtime line has been depleted due to changes occurring in the EMS Dispatch Center, and upon further review, additional funding in the amount of $100,000 is needed to cover overtime in the Dispatch Center through year end. So we are moving money from contingency to overtime, with the fiscal impact reflecting $107,000.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would now call on Chairman Goulden from the Economic Development and Energy Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Adamizio. On behalf of the members of the Economic Development and Energy Committee, Legislators Montgomery and Sage, I make a motion to move the following item. Item number 6Y, approval to designate the Putnam County Visitors Bureau as the tourist promotion agency for Putnam County. We have to do this yearly at this time. This gives the agency the authority to make application for and to receive grants for the purpose of, specifically from the New York State Tourism Promotion Agency. Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I would now call on Chairman Albano from the Physical Services Committee.
Okay, approval of budgetary amendment 21A. Thank you. On behalf of legislators Castellano, Bowman, and myself, I'd like to move 6Z. Okay, it's approval of budgetary amendment 21A 091, Commissioner of Finance. This is putting money into the appropriate lines as far as federal transit project costs. Zero fiscal impact.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
6AA, approval of county open space tax map number 53.16-2-5, tax map number 75.6-2-28, tax map number 75.6-2-40, and 75.6-2-62 in the town of Carmel. This is property that will be taken off the tax rolls and left as vacant space. They don't have a sale value. It's been determined that they don't have a value for sale, and so the county is going to keep them as open space.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
6BB is approval for open space tax map number 23.12-1-50, 23.2.45 in the town of Patterson. Same situation, the property probably does not have a sale value, will be taken off the tax rolls and left as open space, preserve open space.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
6CC is the approval of county open space tax map number 84.11-1-3, tax map number 62.1-40, and 91.8-1-21 in the town of Putnam Valley. Same situation, open space.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
6DD, approval of county open space, tax map number 56.15-1-5, 56.17-1-11, 56.19-1-46, and 56.19-1-47. Same situation, these are in the town of Southeast.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
6E is approval of high reserve facilities, use of capital facility reserves, 21CP05. This is for the repair of various generators around the county. It's in the amount of $60,000.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
6FF is approval, execution, and filing of map for lot line adjustment for county property to be sold pursuant to Chapter 31 of the County Code. This is 34 Glenite Avenue in the town of Carmel. This was to identify this parcel separately from the rest of the campus so that it has the ability to be sold.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
6G is approval of the initial offer amount of county property to be sold utilizing real estate broker and MLS pursuant to Chapter 31 of the Putnam County Code, 34 Glenina Avenue in the town of Carmel.
Any discussion?
I would say that I don't think we should sell this property, but I do respect what the other legislators think. It's on our campus, and I think it can be used in the future for county purposes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also, this is property that adjoins our campus here, so I'm kind of torn as well. If we can get what's indicated on the appraisal report for the way it's situated today without having to grant any right-of-ways, or there's very little parking associated, I think it's all street parking associated with this. If we can get this value, this price as is, I'd be in favor of selling it, but I'd certainly like to keep an eye on how this transpires down the road. Thank you.
Anyone else? Legislator Montgomery?
Yeah, I'm not ready to vote yes on selling this yet either. I feel that, you know, in light of what's been happening, you know, in the world and the need for more and the need for services, and while I'd like to see county services more over on the west side of the county, we don't know what's to come. People need a lot right now. They need housing. They need, you know, I'd like to see some of the resources we have where their buildings aren't so great, possibly move into this building if we could fix it up. I just, again, I'm not ready to sell this yet because lots of things have changed within the past couple of years. So I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Chairwoman.
Legislator, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
If I'd like to, you know, as a conservative Republican, I'm always looking for ways to shrink the size of government, reduce the tax burden on our taxpayers, and make government more efficient. This building has been vacant from the county for over 5 years now. It's in significant disrepair, and to order to get it up to working order would require a significant investment from the county. In addition to that, by selling it, as Legislator Yonke mentioned, you know, $600,000 is a very good price, and we would get it back on the tax rolls, and we would get some activity in that building. It's got some activity now, but it can be utilized much more efficiently, and I think it's right in the center of town in the hamlet, and it should be, you know, a building that has a lot of value for someone with the right use, and I look forward to us being moving this forward, that we would be able to sell it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Legislator O'Donnell?
Just one thing I'd like to add before we do sell it, if that should happen, that I think we should consider deed restrictions on the sale, because I think it's something that we should consider what can be put in there in the future, since it is in the hamlet of Carmel. So I would just like to add that if the time should come.
Legislator Nasarino?
I would just like to echo Legislator Yonke's comments. I too feel conflicted. This is a pristine piece of property located in the hamlet, so that certainly is a plus. Don't want to be short-sighted in selling this and then regretting it years from now. However, if the sale price of $600,000 comes through, that's certainly a very strong consideration. In the 9 years I've been on the legislature, I think this building has been empty and vacant and in disrepair for that many years. So therefore, it does beg the issue to be looked at and reflected, and to see whether or not we can maximize this opportunity for someone to make it viable right here in the center of town. So it is, I think where most of us are conflicted with both scenarios, but if we can move it forward at the right price, we certainly should. I would support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Yes, I also agree with Legislator Nassarino's comments. The comparable sales analysis does show 630, and as Legislator Yonke has mentioned, if we can get that, then I would definitely be in agreement to that. Anyone else? Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, one no, two noes.
Roll call. Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
No.
Legislator Nassarino.
Yes.
Legislator Sage.
Yes.
Legislator Sullivan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Edmiston.
Yes.
Motion carries.
6H is an approval, I'd like to do 6H, approval of secret negative declaration on the Empire State Trail access in the towns of Southeast and Patterson. These are properties located on Route 311 and 312 that'll give better access to our bike trails.
Any discussion? Legislator Nassarino?
I certainly will support this, especially in the town of Patterson, to give that access to our cyclists and our walkers, and the handicap accessible as well, so this is a plus plus for the town of Patterson.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
6II is support approval of continuing the Putnam County Parking and Transfer Program and Intercity Bus Massive Transportation Joint Service Agreement to operate the Croton Falls Commuter Shuttle. This is an agreement that has been in place for many years, I think from 2004, and this is just a continuation of that agreement, and we could get reimbursement for this.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I call on Chairman Sullivan from the Rules, Enactments, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. It's a tongue
Thank you.
twister.
Thank you, Chairwoman Adenizio. On behalf of myself, Legislators Albano and Castellano, I'd like to move forward with item 6JJ, which is the approval for a budgetary transfer for the county attorney to satisfy outstanding legal invoices for legal services and judgment and claims for $102,500.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6KK is the approval for the contract of our legislative council.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd just
Oh,
like to
yes,
say.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in favor of this. I'd like to thank Rob for the great work that he does for us. It's fair, it's always prompt, it's always accurate, it's always, you know, your advice is always something we can hang our hats on, and I just want to make sure to acknowledge that.
Thank you. Yes, Legislator.
Just simply, I would second that. It's been a pleasure, and it's extremely helpful. We've had a good representation.
Anyone else? I agree with all the comments.
Yeah, right, I think we all agree with
Yes.
what Legislator Yonke and Legislator Albano said. Our legislative council is tremendous and an incredible asset to us all, and we're very thankful and lucky to have it.
Yes.
I'll move then to item 6L.
All in favor?
Sorry. Didn't take the
All in
vote yet.
favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
Trusted that one.
Item 6LL is the approval for litigation settlement for the case of Rosado versus the county of Putnam. There was an incident involving a traffic stop and the sheriff's department, and claim of use of excessive force and negligent supervision, abuse of authority, and we wrestled with this case ourselves, and it's in the best interest of the taxpayers that we move this forward and settle the case, because we were advised by our attorneys that the potential negative effect on the taxpayers and on the amount of dollars could be significant. So therefore, we agreed to settle the case at $125,000. But be clear, in no way do we think that the behavior that was involved in this case is acceptable. And we look forward to next year and the future with our new sheriff and having a real strong approach towards making sure that these things don't happen in the future.
Any discussion?
I have to make a comment, please.
Legislator Montgomery, yes.
Thank you. I just feel like Legislator Sullivan's comments somehow reflect that the current sheriff is responsible for the behavior of these two officers involved in this. And I think that's inappropriate. I mean, this is a long-standing training that the Putnam County Sheriff's Department has. And I think to say that, you know, it won't happen again or it wasn't instilled from some previous time, it just is wrong.
Anyone else? Legislator Bianchi.
Yeah, settling these lawsuits is not easy because we have to manage and balance the potential fiscal impact with an adverse decision against the county, which could end up costing the county much, much more than the amount we're settling for tonight. In no way are we condoning the behavior of the officers. We're hoping that something was done at least to educate all the officers that this kind of behavior is potentially likely to put us in this situation. So these are difficult decisions, but the fiscally prudent decision is to settle this case at this number. Thank you.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just going to add, just to make it clear, these are alleged actions. This is something that has been litigated in a court of law. So our job here is just to follow the advice of our attorneys and settle for this amount. These are alleged actions, so I don't want to throw any officers under the bus for anything, but at the same time, I certainly don't condone any type of activity like this. Anyway, I just thought that should be said.
Thank you. Yes, Legislator Goldman.
I'd like to agree with what Legislator Yawkey has said. This is a fiscal decision. If we don't decide on this, the potential of a jury case could be a lot more. So I'll be voting for this. Thank you.
Legislator Nazareno.
I will be voting for this as well, recognizing and clearly understanding that the fiscal impact could be adverse should we not move forward with it, but also understanding and reflecting that there needs to be some culpability to prevent these types of cases coming forward. And that's not a reflection on any one person or the sheriff, but there has to be some culpability and some understanding of accountability, or else these kind of cases won't even be pending. So I would like to see that culture changed in the future.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6MM is the approval for a local law to amend the code of the County of Putnam, Chapter 135, entitled Contractors.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 6NN is the approval for home improvement fees, the civil penalty schedule pursuant to sections 135-13A and 135-13B of the Putnam County Code.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Item 600 is the approval for the reappointment to the Putnam County Board of Electrical Examiners.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye. Item 6PP is the approval for the reappointments of the Putnam County Home Improvement Board.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the people that we're reappointing tonight. Thank you for your service, thank you for your volunteerism. We need people to volunteer for these boards, and just want to recognize the job they do.
I think we're all appreciative of their volunteerism. Thank them. All in favor?
Aye. Item 6QQ is the approval for the reappointments to the Plumbing and Mechanical Trades Board. And I want to echo Legislator Yonke's comments. I was waiting to the end, but yes, we appreciate all of the volunteers' work that they do. These are not easy jobs, and we couldn't get things done here without them, so we thank them very much for their service.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I call on Chairman Castellano from the Audit and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman. On behalf of myself and legislators Albano and Gluman, I'd like to move forward the following. Item 6RR is the approval of a budgetary amendment from the Finance Department for Putnam County golf course contracts. This is an increase of income to the golf course, $315,000. We're going to put it in the appropriate category.
Any discussion?
Good question. I just want to say thank you to Diane, Michelle, and Commissioner Carlin for trying to clarify this for me. It's a very vague resolution. I'm told that these contracts are for everything that goes on at the golf course, all that's events, that's fundraisers, that's, I don't know who these contracts are for. And I think in the future, glad for the income. I think in the future this needs to be broken down so we can separate the categories and know, you know, where it's coming from. We have cash being collected for parking at events. We have cash being collected. I know some of this is for Tilly, not here, for you know, beer trucks and food trucks at Tilly, and just I think we need to do a better job at making things a little more clear, and not just label it as contracts.
Anyone else?
Chairwoman?
Yes.
Yeah, I think what this is, it's not all of the things that were mentioned there by Legislator Montgomery. It states on our amendment in front of us that it's Putnam Golf Course. So this is increase, I believe, in income from increase in the activity of people playing golf. So I don't think it comes from anything else other than the golf course.
Okay.
But we could always ask our county auditor if she knows anything more than that, but, right? Right, it's from increased activity at the golf course. It has nothing to do with Tilly Foster.
Through the chair.
Yes.
What activity? Golfing? We have contracts with our
It
golfers?
says golf.
Golf.
Golf, I'm saying.
So we have contracts with our golfers? What activity? Golf?
That's
We
just
have
a
events at the
heading,
golf
that's
course?
just a heading for a line item. It says contracts. It doesn't say anything about, other than it's a description.
And certainly over the course of the year, we've been told how well the golf course has been doing, especially during the pandemic. Obviously, we have more golfers there than before, so we're just correcting the numbers of the income. And it's not just golfers in this category, but it's everything.
I'm giving 10 different stories here.
Okay.
That's increased income.
It is golf.
It's Putnam County Golf Course.
I would say because of the pandemic that it's probably significantly just from golf, because most of the other operations at the golf course were closed.
And again, the weather has been fantastic for the whole year. I mean, we've had the discussion throughout the year that,
So this has nothing to do with Tilly Foster.
no,
So-
this is the Putnam County Golf Course.
Through the
Right.
chair?
Yes.
Who are we signing contracts with for this?
I think it just says contracts. We have, it doesn't mean that it's the contracts. I see how it was worded. Legislator?
Yeah, I mean, we could have brought this up at a committee meeting if there's
You
questions.
know.
Well,
we could-
that's how it's normally done. The point is, we're fortunate that we have the golf course, because in these crazy times, this is probably the only thing that really stood out that was a positive, where everything else was closed down. So basically, this is just an increase in income based on the agreement we have with the people that do the golf service.
Through the chair.
They did better than expected.
Okay, so I just want to say that if you, excuse me, just on the line, it says increase estimated appropriations, right? And then it says increase estimated revenue, and they're both the same number. So I just think that's how they worded it, is possible.
It's a line item on the budget that says contract. I'm happy that we have extra income. I don't need legislator Albano to tell me when to ask questions every meeting. I'm asking it now. All I wanted to know is what are the contracts for? Who signs them? That's it. I'm glad for the income.
Okay.
I'm just
I
trying.
call the vote, please.
Chairwoman, if I could.
The vote's been called.
Okay,
No, we have to get a second. I don't think you have a second.
is there a second? Okay, so I would just like,
I'd like to, so there's only one person in the county that approves contracts, that's the county executive. So that answers that question. Secondly, it is golf course income, as I mentioned, from the golf course for the additional rounds of golf that were played. They didn't have any functions because of COVID, so it's very clear to me what this is. It's just additional income, probably above what they budgeted originally because they had many more golfers out there this year. It's very clear and very easy to understand.
Legislator Albano.
My only point is that it could be a good question. I'm not quite, this is not the time to do it because we may not be able to have the answers here. We don't have people before us that could give the answers. So again, the committee is the best time to address these questions because right now there's no one else here that we can speak to about it and we don't run the full meeting that way. That's all I was pointing out.
We can, once, no, like, I was gonna say, we can find out.
Thank you.
That's all.
Through the chair.
That's all we can do.
Through the
Yeah,
chair.
we'll find out, because we don't know the answers.
To the chair.
Yes.
Sometimes I have questions after the committee. Sometimes they come up as we're meeting. That's the governmental process.
Right,
And
the
I'm
only
happy
thing-
for
Well, we may
that.
not have the
That's-
answers.
that's-
We don't
might not have the
Just say
answers,
I don't know.
but we can find out. We can find out. Yes, legislator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were apprised of the unusually high number of golf rounds. I don't recall what the number was, but I do remember from just evaluation of golf courses, knowing what this area normally used to have as number of rounds. And it was something that was really outrageously high. And 315,000 at even, if it was $75 a round, it would be 4,200 extra rounds, which doesn't get us even to that number. So I'm assuming that our rounds are less than $75. So it does, the math makes sense that it's strictly just a lot of play on a golf course.
I speak through the chair. I very much appreciate that. So what I'm understanding now is that it's probably for additional golf rounds. I do know, despite what has been said here, because a lot of misinformation has been said here, that nothing's been going on there during COVID. I know there have been political events there, fundraisers for political, candidates, and I know there's been activities, since it reopened. So that's all I want to know. Is this income from those activities? From what's being done at the event space? Is it from just golfers? That's all.
Okay, we can
I
send a
don't
question.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why Legislator Sullivan has to say it's very clear and simple, very condescendingly. I'm asking a question. It's very clear
It's
and
not
simple.
misinformation.
Okay,
It's very
let's stay on
condescending.
track.
Once again,
Condescending.
Okay,
Very
let's not get out of
condescending.
order. Okay, that's fine. We all have our opinion. We're trying to get the answer for you. And I think you can send that, your question, we can all find out. Okay,
Chairwoman,
I think it's,
take it offense to Legislator Montgomery. We're having a discussion, and she always throws out these terms, condescending. They have nothing
let's
to
be
do
respectful
with-
of everyone
Right.
this evening,
And
please.
there's
I
nothing
want-
condescending about it. We're having a discussion. But she always throws out these negative words at us when she doesn't like. The other night, she used to describe
let's
the
not-
budget
I don't
know,
pornographic.
please.
Pornographic budget you described the other night,
Okay, let's not, okay.
right?
So we,
Let's just,
Legislator Sage,
It's
Yeah,
would you like to speak on?
pornographic budget.
I'm just saying, this is income coming into the county, it's a benefit to the taxpayers. We did have privy to Mr. Carlin, who was at the meetings. We were asking him questions, we talked about it. And it also states here in the backup that we will have a presentation from the golf course manager this month. So hopefully all these questions go out. This is income, there's nothing going out right now, this is coming in.
Just as a last comment, I just think, if we're going round and round here and with no real answers, just the questions. And all Legislator Montgomery really asked us if this memorandum be a little bit more in detail and to indicate exactly what it's for. So in the future, that request should be carried out for all of us, because none of us here can answer this question with any real knowledge of exactly what the contract is defined as. So to be able to define this a little more clearer on paper would alleviate all of this that went on tonight, so.
If I may,
Legislative, yes.
to respond to legislative stage, I'd like to know where my income is coming from, especially when I'm responsible for taking it on behalf of the taxpayer.
We'll certainly find out. Okay, it's how it was
I'd like to
worded.
know exactly where it's coming from.
Okay, we will find out for you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 6SS is the approval of the budgetary amendment for Tilly Foster Farm utility expenses. We have some increased revenue from rental income at Tilly Foster Farm of $6,000, commissions in the amount of $13,000, which will cover some of the costs of the increased heating oil of $5,000, electricity of $5,000, propane $1,000, and another category of propane for $8,000. So it's a zero fiscal impact. I'd like to move forward.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So, comment,
Legislator Montgomery? Yes.
I understand this is rental income, and we have an increase in utility services and the cost of utilities, but we are renting sites at Tilly Foster for low rent, including utilities, so our tenants are jacking up the utility costs. We have a facility being used right now with no lease. We're paying for the utilities for that. We don't know what they're manufacturing there. Are they heating something all day long? So I don't believe that we should be using this income to subsidize what we've already subsidized for a number of these spaces. If we have extra income, let's use it for services for the people and not giving more to our friends and family who are using our spaces at Tilly Foster.
Anyone else?
Yes, you know, again,
Legislator Sullivan, yes.
we discussed this at committee, and Tilly Foster is a tremendous asset to the county. I don't know if, I'm not even sure what President Montgomery just mentioned, there's something about family and friends, I don't even know what that means. But, you know, county is doing a great job at Tilly Foster. It's generating significant income for the county. It's a tremendous place for visitors and tourists to come. There are great events there, concerts, weddings, the restaurant. So I just think it's a tremendous asset, and I'm not sure about this special friends and families thing that was mentioned. I have no idea what that is.
I'd like to clarify that
Robert's receiving orders.
legislative.
Okay, through the chair, all comments, you have to, through the chair.
I'm asking, I'd like
Yes,
to
okay.
respond.
First, let me ask if anyone else has a comment, because I would like to go around one time.
Okay, well,
Is anyone?
I haven't gone yet. and nobody
Excuse
else
me?
has. I haven't gone yet, nobody else has either. So I'm the one that
Okay, all right.
requested it.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, it's clear.
You're recognized, Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you. I have an outstanding memo to the county executive and to the physical services chair regarding the relationship of one of the tenants at Tilly Foster Farm. What's the relationship?
Okay, but that's not on the agenda this
Well, I'm
evening.
clarifying this
Well,
statement
yeah,
that-
we're not discussing
Okay.
that though, because
Well,
it's not on
I
the
don't-
agenda. We're talking about
Okay.
what's on the agenda this
So
evening.
regarding the agenda, I don't know how we can responsibly approve this where we don't know where these utility costs are coming from. And especially when we have a facility being used that doesn't even have a lease signed yet or a watershed agreement approval yet. And we don't know, it's a manufacturing business, we don't know how much in utilities are they using? And so we have an increase in utilities at Tilly Foster Farm, and we have tenants, again, paying very low rent. We have one living there that was a deal because they're going to watch over this facility, but yet we have no employee contract in place for that. It's just like, oh, well, you know, they said they're gonna watch over the facility, it's good to have someone there. We have nothing in writing, no job description for that. And we're just going way off of what this property was meant for.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Legislator Albano.
Yeah, to me, this is quite simple. We basically have increased estimates in heating, electric, propane. We know that utility costs have gone up, so this is not a shock. And we're using income to pay them. These are expenses we have. As far as all the other questions, we should bring them up at a committee meeting, and we can go over them all in details, with detail and get answers. But this is what it cost, and we're using income to pay for this.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Legislator
I agree with Legislator Albano. We're all well aware of utility costs have increased, and we will continue to see those increases in the upcoming year, and rental income used to offset some of the use for the facilities is not unique.
Anyone else? Didn't give you chances. Legislator Sullivan?
I'm not sure what's being manufactured up at the farm. I heard that there's manufacturing being done up there.
I believe they're making candles.
Oh, making candles, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, now we're talking out of order and go back and forth. Legislator Montgomery.
I would just like to point out that the increase in utilities is due to the tenants that are using the utilities that already have reduced cost in rent and utilities being paid for. The income is owned by and should go back to the taxpayers, not more benefits for the already reduced rent and the facilities that the tenants get.
Okay.
It's inaccurate.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the increase is from the rentals. The
Well,
increase.
who's using the utilities?
There's other properties that we have there. The barn,
The
the
restaurant.
building, the restaurant. Heating oil has gone up.
But we are supplementing the tenants more.
What we have in front of us is we're covering this cost, and we're using the rental income. And it's from the commission's $19,000. It's a zero fiscal impact. And we're covering the costs that were unexpected from last year because heating oil has gone up, electricity has gone up, propane has gone up.
And rents
That's
have
what
gone
we-
down.
What's that?
And rents have gone down.
No.
All right, let's, okay.
They haven't gone down.
All in favor?
No.
I got it. Thank you.
6TT is the approval of a fund transfer for finance for contracts. We're moving $18,000 into appropriate fees, appropriate category.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
6UU is the approval of a grant application for emergency services. This is an infrastructure and communities grant that we're applying for.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to number 7 is other business. Seeing there's no other business, I'll be moving on to number 8, which is recognition of public on agenda items. If anyone wishes to speak, please come up to the podium and state your name and the town in which you reside. There's no one here this evening that would like to speak. Moving on to recognition of legislators. Any legislators wishing to speak? Legislator O'Malley?
Just wishing everybody a blessed and healthy Christmas, New Year, holiday season. Hopefully next year is going to be a great year for all of us.
Yes. Anyone else? Legislator Nazareno?
I would just like to congratulate the Carmel High School football team. And I'm a mother of 3 alumni of Carmel High School. They're all very proud. Look forward to the parade that is scheduled for Saturday at 11 a.m. To celebrate and acknowledge this great achievement. I also wish everyone happy and healthy and blessed holiday season. Thank you.
Legislator Montgomery?
Also like to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season. And I also want to mention that we have 2 long-serving outgoing town supervisors that are retiring this month. And Sam Oliverio of Putnam Valley and Richard Shea of Phillipstown have collectively served for over a half a century in their many roles as committee members and council people and town supervisors. We had a wonderful event for Richard at his last town board meeting. Sandy Galiff was there, and he received proclamations from Senator Schumer and the county executive. Actually, the county executive was for Judge Toman, who we also honored. But I just want to thank them both for their service. I worked closely with Richard, who spent his lifetime dedicated to Phillipstown. He served with extreme distinction for 8 years as a town board member, 11 as supervisors, and many years before in volunteering. He has protected his community and its natural resources in a way that I've not seen any other leader do. His talent was truly including the public and empowering the standing boards like the planning boards and zoning boards to work together to achieve great things. And he always welcomed the public to the town board's table in decision making, and it facilitated great ideas. And most of all, most recently, Richard, during the height of COVID, raised over $500,000 in private funds to assist those facing food insecurity and other personal crisis, and still now continues to raise that money for food vouchers and medications. And you know, it's an honor to go and deliver those food vouchers to families, especially this time of year. And I just want to say on behalf of District 1 how much I appreciate the work of both Sam and Richard and their dedication to Putnam County. And I know Bill and I worked on some words for Sam, and I'll turn it over to Bill through the chair.
Yes, Legislator Goldman.
Today is a very important day in American history. The day 80 years ago, Pearl Harbor was bombed. I would like to thank everyone who has served in the military. Freedom is not free, and what you do is a very worthwhile thing for America. Thank you. Also, what Legislator Montgomery just mentioned, I would like to congratulate Sam Oliverio, the town supervisor, and Larry Cobb, the highway superintendent for Putnam Valley. Both of these individuals will not be returning to government in January. They're both retiring. They've had many years of service in our community, Putnam Valley and Putnam County. Both myself and the Legislator Montgomery will be giving them a certificate at the full legislative meeting in Putnam Valley. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Larry, for your service. Also, it's a wonderful time of year, and I would like to wish everyone a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Legislator Goldman.
Yes, I would like to remember the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, all the men and women who passed away that day, and those who continued fighting at the beginning of World War II. We should never, ever, ever forget that moment in time, or we should always remember it. I wasn't there, so. I'd also like to congratulate, with mixed emotions, as a Mahopac High School graduate, the Carmel High School football team in taking the state championship. Also like to keep in mind our first responders. Yesterday it kind of hit home for me when my daughter's school bus was involved in a 3-vehicle accident. I was called to the scene, and our own Bureau of Emergency Services were there, our volunteer firemen were at the scene, our sheriff's department was at the scene. You know, sometimes you have to see it firsthand to really, really appreciate what these men and women do for us. So let's keep them in mind too. And happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else? Legislator Solomon.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Everybody has mentioned a lot of things, and I agree with all of them. December 7th, 1941, 80 years ago today, the attack on Pearl Harbor pulled Americans together to fight against fascism and to fight against the spread of communism. And we are very grateful to those Americans who gave their lives and sacrifice for our country. Also, of course, Carmel High School, as a 1981 graduate of Carmel High School, extremely proud to see them win the state championship for the first time ever. If you recall, back in February of 2020, we had Coach Todd Kay here and the football team to support Coach Kay and the team for his outstanding achievements at that time as head coach of the year and also as Section 1 coach of the year, and for his 150 wins at that time when he was facing some significant pressure from people on the school board to try and force him out, and thank God he prevailed and is still our coach, and look what he did. He brought the team undefeated all the way to the state championship. So we'd like to congratulate Coach K, his family, and all the players for just a great treat for the residents of town of Carmel. And lastly, of course, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Looking forward to a healthy and happy and prosperous 2022, and welcome our newly elected officials to the town and the county. We really look forward to working with them, and we thank people who are leaving the government for all their past service. Thank you.
Anyone else? I know everyone spoke about the attack of Pearl Harbor. This is the 80th anniversary. I just wanted to say that we must never forget the 2,403 service members and 68 civilians who perished during the attack. And today we pay tribute to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. And yes, it's exciting times for Carmel Rams. So I hope everyone can make the parade this Saturday. And this is the first time that any team in Putnam County has won the state championship. So Merry Christmas and healthy, happy December. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.